Hope most of you went in on LinkedIn, and I think we were also streaming on X or Twitter or whatever. But yeah, the recording of that on auto was there, so good to see lots of products automating what we have here. Basically, instead of having a canvas that's freeform, which can be kind of tedious to move things around and all that, it's nice to have something that's opinionated. We'll also be trying our hand at creating that from scratch ourselves with this, just to show the amount of effort that these guys went into to make this happen. So yeah, and already we have some spam in our comments section. Thanks, spammers, always making it a worse time for everyone. Where do I have my... somewhere here. All right. So yeah, Twitch is kind of... I might even drop Twitch streaming because of the spam crap. It's not worth it, really. There's not too many people watching this there, or nor are they going to there to watch anything. So that's too bad, unless we do pick up some traffic there and some people actually do use Twitch. We might drop it. My TikTok account isn't 30 days old yet, so can't really stream there yet. So, but we'll do that. Anyway, on to the next thing. So here we want to start off on this project here, but I kind of like all the different tools that we developed in the last sprint. So we kind of want to clean up our source code. We have everything in dev. Again, before we broke away for watching that other stream, we started to clean this up. So let's just see how far we got. So one of the things that we did here is just look at, what we have on QA versus what we have on dev, and notice that we're missing a few things and they're done in a different order. And then of course, when we had the diff between dev and here, we noticed that here we are, we have this stuff. So, okay, we have to remember the direction of the div. We're going from dev to here to QA, which means that we did move on dev. We actually don't have this, sorry, on dev we have decentralized, or sorry, made this, looking for this this extra storage, whether the storage for our events exist. We actually have that where it belongs, so that we don't have to restart our application if we empty out the event, the events. But on QA we do have that here, so we need to correct that. So if I look at that again, we really don't want it here. So we want what's in dev here. However, on QA we don't have these things, which we do want. So the ends of the functions we want. We also don't have these things bumped up. So let's just clean everything up. We have a couple of things that we really want to also clean up for this sprint, which would be things like renaming topics and sessions. I think we want to do topics because I think we're going to be using the word session for like the login session potentially, or things like that. We do have a registration that we kind of use as a session right now. So we may, I still don't want to use the word session there. Just so it just makes it easier for that. So yeah, here, yeah, we got to clean all that up. So the only good, I think there's, if I think about what is good that's in here, in our current QA branch. So currently this is not good. So in QA, this is not good. This is also not good in QA. Okay, so the fact that we have this here and that we have only on app start this clearing, checking if this exists, because I want to just be able to nuke that directory in the middle of the application running, and if it if the application sees that it's not there, just recreates it. I'd like to do that. So, and all these, getting these names correct, but also I want to have the names really be identical. So it just makes for a better way to work. And this is another big one here that we have. In QA we don't have this sessions, which is probably the result of our bad merge that we had, which is fine. So we can get the dev version of this. We also are missing these fake events for some reason from the topics branch. Probably from the topics branch, which we want. So it seems like we kind of want what's in dev because we really didn't touch that. We also are obviously missing the whole topics UI, which is bad. So I forget whether we actually had a whole branch missing, but for some reason we don't have it come up. We definitely clobbered that functionality in the merge because tips of the features don't show that. So if we look at what we have here, submit top, and yeah, we want to get rid of some of these old names of these things. If I resurrect those branches, I'll probably have the proper name of it. Yeah, but one thing that I'm actually curious if it actually has a merge in here. This topics thing. So I know in dev we have topics here like that, state view topics, but here we actually don't have it in QA. So can we actually just merge that in? Get branch, no merged. Oh yeah, we don't have it. Okay, so obviously we haven't merged it in yet. Maybe that'll be fine. But I am kind of worried about some of these other things that we found are missing. So I'm going to merge this topics node, this branch. It's funny, it comes after this one, but I think we did this because of some cherry picking things. Where this is, yeah, maybe here, sorry, here. Yeah, we're going to have to reset this QA branch, obviously. And this votes node has to be reset up to, basically this is the votes node is our new work. It's empty right now, so it's just sitting there as a pointer to where the start tag is for the next iteration here. And so we need to now do this topics node here. So obviously there is going to be some conflicts. Let's see if this resolution, since this is the last thing that's outstanding, we don't need anything else. We can just fix this whole thing by checking out the, get status. We notice that we're getting the fake events that we wanted, which is great. We're getting the mustache view, and here we have this conflict. However, the conflict resolution is really just to get what's in dev, and that'll also roll in those things that we missed out cherry picking, and I don't mind. That's fine. Those cherry picks were tricky because they actually were parts of slices, I believe. Especially like yeah, putting in the putting on the closing brace comments, which I think the only reason that, again, I'm doing that is because we're sitting in one giant file, and so a naked brace on one line seems to be causing some issues with where we basically have our context for merges, how we'll get splices together, two sides of the thing. So let's just see what that is, just for out of curiosity, more or less. But yeah, it's gigantic, right? Because we insert these things at a specific point in time. So register gets pushed, sessions tries to get put in here, and this is the problem that I see, is that because these don't have a termination, like what is this the end of, right? And you know, why is this not enough context for it to figure out what's going on? So these types of problems I don't want to have to deal with. So all of these things this is all valid code. It's just like how it splits this here. See, it has a sliced topics end, which is great. I think this is in the right spot, but in terms of how it throws this in, and notice there's this here. This is adding the topics. This is the state view. It's returning all the topics collection. Here, this obviously it's just getting this part that it spits out. This is just to help lookups along. It's basically a utility for the reducer to keep lookups. So I don't want to bother with this. I know that the proper merge is actually in dev because we had that working. So in order to fix this merge conflict, I can just do a git checkout, and I can do bpf dev, and then I want to specify app.js, and that's just going to give us that image. Okay, so we see all the markers kind of disappear. We kind of get what we want. And of course, we can just do git add, and then do app.js. Git status will show all that. So we should be good to go for that, and then we can fix the fix that there. Just 1 second, I gotta turn something down. Something's very loud. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So yeah, so we have fixed everything here. We can also just check if things are running correctly. I could just remove the event stream And I'm not sure if I have, nothing's running. Okay, so we can just do node. Oh, it's a new thing. So nvm is latest, node app.js, and then just see if the tests run. Yeah, they're all fine. Notice how fast they run. It's just amazing. I love having all tests be unit tests in these systems. That is one of the biggest benefits as well of event sourcing is really having all those state transitions as almost mathematical functions, so your entire system just gets tested instantly. It's beautiful. So yeah, let's just run it, make sure that things are okay. And again, because we did the order of which we kind of work through the system kind of in the same order, like we add the paths in the same order that we do the event model. So from left to right, we kind of see this up and down here. So if I click on the first thing, that's really like, you know, what the first thing's gonna run as. I gotta make sure I have the last UI thing. So let's just do that. That's our last one. So if this is on the screen here, we should be able to, okay, so it just pops up so instantly. I love how snappy these event source solutions are. So let's do this event modeling on conference. And before we do any of that, I do want to see how things are running. So I do want to go to the other thing here, and then we have our events watch, right? Scenarios and watch. We do watch. We're going to be evolving this command as well. It's kind of cool to see stuff. So right now we have nothing here. Sorry, that was me just configuring my tablet to use the right display. Actually, my stylus for the drawing stuff. Gotta remember, I gotta like explain stuff. I gotta draw stuff for you guys, so gotta get used to that. It would be kind of cool. Yeah, maybe we'll do that right now. So let's just explain what I'm doing here. So what we have is, let's get the good old pencil going here. And so what we have is really the effort started with a start tag, start 3, and then we did all these different slices in you know, in these different efforts. And as we're evolving these features, right, these slices. So on our event model, we have, you know, these slices that we kind of have drawn, which we showed you, right? They all kind of correspond to, you know, each of these. So this is a start tag, and it's really like the end of a previous effort with its own commits. And so we're now at the beginning of doing another one of these where we have a start 4, but it's really not here. I really have to map these buttons to be undo and redo over here because right now I'm just finding I'm erasing too much. So let's you know, we really also have this idea that the QA branch, our release candidate branch, that's kind of like where we always merge to all our finished branches. We also have the dev branch where we merge a lot more. It's all the, you know, intermediate sort of builds when not everything works yet, but it's kind of an integration branch. When things are finished, they kind of get put here. So, and then we can always deploy these at any one point, and that's kind of like our main branch is kind of where we note every time that we release something. It usually is this QA/RC release candidate that we call. And so we're kind of at this point where we're ending another one of these, where, you know, we're going to be at a certain point in this branch with all of these things finished and merged in. And so we're going to be doing a start tag start 4, and, you know, this is our first commits here are going to be, so for this votes or votes, I forget what we called it, but that is the branch called votes, and we're going to be doing that effort here. But before that, let's take the big old eraser to it again. What we're going to be doing is, this is nice. With the pressure, you get kind of a smaller eraser. If you want a smaller eraser, I press harder to have a larger eraser. This is very convenient. Say if I want to erase that one guy, very cool. All right. So yeah, so this whole thing here, what we actually want to do before we start is kind of what we used to do in other traditional places where we're working on infrastructure and everything together. It's a big mess and all of that. You know, that we have these like fix up. We have these fix up. I call them fix up. Something on the screen here, it makes it. Can't even read that. Let's try again. So yeah, we call these a fix up kind of commit or set of commits, where we kind of want to, before we do a start tag, we actually want to do it up here where we finish that, and so only do the feature branches from there. So our votes would be here, and you know that would be one of these things that we haven't done yet. That would be there. So this work here is kind of what we want to do, since we're evolving a lot of this. I mean, we don't even have a menu system, etc. So you know, perhaps at the before we do the start 5, we'll probably fix up the menus to make sure that they're good, and etc. But at the end of a few sprints, you kind of have a really good basis for going forward, because you do discover some of these infrastructure needs along the way. Not everyone has everything ready up front, so you got to have places for this. But generally, we had these every 1 or 2 weeks of cleaning stuff up, and you just come up with better conventions. Like we came up with a better convention. We noticed that there was some issues because we're using this single app.js thing, that we had problems with conflicts because of the ambiguity of how things end. So we're gonna hopefully fix that. We'll see if it works, and do that. So we're gonna be basically doing all of this in here, and yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to start this feature after we clean it up. So let's get going with the cleanup. I'll switch screens here back to the code, and let's get going. And yeah, if you have questions, feel free to join us on the Discord and join the live stream channel, and do that there. So yeah, back to this. So we want to just double check that what we have in our QA branch is working, and that we can start to kind of clean things up a bit. I don't want to use the word refactor because that's not what we're doing. We're not trying to optimize some algorithm to make a current test pass. Our tests already passed. We already did that. We're just making some stylistic things happen. So yeah, just gonna double check if my sound is all good. Seems like it's okay. Okay. Just like to kind of monitor myself here on YouTube sometimes, just to make sure that the feed is alive and okay. I'm actually quite liking Restream. It's good. Tried the other one with Sam and Chris earlier. I forget what their platform was called, but it was more of a webinar platform. This is a little bit more just meant for like YouTubing solo. I think the other one was more like oh gosh, what was the other one that we used years ago? Big Marker or something like that. Anyway, that was with Bobby, and that worked well too. And I think it was close to that. Restream is really about you make the stream what you want, and then it's just a straight pump, right? They do have a good story for aggregating the comments. So if you comment on LinkedIn, or you comment on X, or you comment on YouTube, they'll all come in through this. So, you know, feel free to ask via those channels too. All right, so let's get going. We'll make this. Okay, so that works. We notice here, I'm just doing this watch command, right? We rewrote this watch command in one of the previous streams to kind of see the events come through. We also fixed up that command to not be polluted by the timestamps and other things like that. So let's see how that does. So we can continue to this where we add dates. So let's just say we have March 3rd. I'm happy with March 3rd being good for both dates. So notice that works. Then the rooms, we can add our typical rooms here. That seems to work. Add a blank room. That's pretty bad. So we probably want to have some error handling there. That's really a feature of this page, so I don't want to. Obviously, if we make a mistake, we want to have a delete button beside all of them. Those are very simple homework exercise type things for you to do. Or if you want me to do them, then send me a note and I'll fix it up. One of the things that we would do, let's say this was a major difference between deleting and not deleting them, or just having this add thing, we would have a brand new slice for it. It would cost as much as a new slice, but I don't want to be tethered to the old code at all, especially when such requirements are non-trivial. You really want to make sure you're not bringing in baggage from the previous interpretation of how things work. So that's why we really want to have a slice to be wholesale replaced. And where you find ways to kind of go a little bit faster by copying some of those things, maybe for infrastructure, code structure reasons, fine, but definitely not for the business logic. We definitely want to revisit why things want to work a certain way or not. This is trivial. It's a bad example. We'll get to better examples later. So I'm just going to add another one here, and then we'll continue. Maybe that blank is going to cause us issues with some of the display stuff, but who cares? Let's just let's try it now. Let's do 10 a.m. And again, this thing obviously needs a lot of UX love. This is a pain in the butt to use. So we have 9 a.m. here. Why is that not working? 9. Yeah, there it is, 9, and then end. This should autofill to be 55 minutes. So you have 5 minutes between sessions, or 10 minutes or something. But right now, and then of course you can't really see this button. There is a button, but with the dark mode you can't see it. So all bunch of stuff that people can put in pull requests to make it work in a better way. So, but that's okay. We can do that, add it, and then again we see the important part is their event sourcing works. That's what we're here for. We're not here to fiddle with the UI too much, at least not now. So I'm just basically running through the system really for your sake as well, to kind of see what this thing's supposed to do. So I'm putting together this unconference, and these are the times of the sessions. So slot 2, add that, and then I'm happy to continue. So now I've set up most of that. So this is the handover to where I create the conference URL and code. This is where the example processor that we implemented kind of waits for a request, and then only then generates an event for the conference ID. So that's in our history. That's fine. And so now people that can scan this QR code, of course, if you have it hosted somewhere, you would obviously have not this, it would have a proper URL. That's not going to work for you if you're trying to scan it from your screen right now, unless you're running the exact same thing locally. So yeah, if we copy this, right, and then I just tear off this one here, it's the old one, and paste this in here, that's us joining, right? So this is a participant. So just like we have the 2 swim lanes, one for the organizer. Now they scan this, and this is what they get to. And so now I can say, okay, hey, I'm Adam, right? And I register. And then if I make another one here and I paste this, I can also say, hey, I'm Bob, right? So I'll register as Bob in this tab. And so I have Adam and Bob here as 2 participants. So I'll continue with Adam here. Notice that we have register event. We have 2 here. We have the conference ID and the registration ID. We really don't need the conference ID here. So because we have a 1 conference at a time. So, one of the design differences here is is kind of not bothering looking at this. And it's an interesting topic. It has to do with indexing, because right now this whole stream is for the one conference, or this one conference organizer that may have, one conference after another. And so they don't have multiple conferences going on at the same time. That's one of the business rules. So therefore, you should not have to have a conference ID in this event. The previous event kind of demarks that all registration IDs between this conference ID and this next conference ID, that's the conference IDs they belong to. So this is superfluous information. I should really remove it, but it's kind of hitting business logic, so I kind of don't want to remove it. Anyway, that's something that that would make the system simpler. Like we're looking for the simplest thing that could work. But what'll probably happen is that people will complain that they want to have one account to run multiple things at the same time, and eventually you will need this sort of thing, and this is common, of course, in just having ownership and multi-tenancy and all that. So I'm just going to leave it in here for now, even though I don't really like it at this point to be in here. So that's kind of cool that we can see these events kind of progress underneath as we move forward. So thank you for registering. Okay, cool. No proposed sessions yet, so we can suggest another session. And notice that we pass correctly the registration ID in our URL, so that means we're associating it correctly with me. So I want a presentation, and I want something on event modeling intro, and I'm going to submit this topic. It's there, and I'm going to suggest another one, and I'm going to talk about a presentation, and I'm going to talk about event sourcing intro. Okay, submit this topic. Okay, so now we have two. It's done by me, and of course here we have all the information. Again, the one thing that we changed here is that we have this meta property, which actually shows us our command that was used to generate this command, this event. We can also have something like an envelope around both the event and anything else that's there. So it depends like what the best, thing is to do this. I think sometimes the event data is actually serialized itself as JSON, and that gets put in as just a string of an attribute within the system. So there's many ways to do this. I don't know how good that actually is long term. I kind of want to be, for demonstration purposes, I don't want to have to deserialize anything. When I see the event on disk and it's stored like this, it's kind of human readable at this point. So I want to keep it that way, and I keep flying away from this. So okay, so now that I've done these things, this registration is successful. So if Bob registered after me and they go continue, they notice that, oh, okay, Adam suggested something. So if Bob suggests something else, and he also has a presentation, and he wants to do legacy code management using event modeling, you can submit that topic, and now you can see Bob is that. So if I refresh my page here as Adam, I should have Bob coming in with this topic. Cool. Okay, that's pretty nice. And so I think that's where we left off. Now we go to vote for these things. So we have not found. Good thing is we have the not found error using the black screen, the custom error screen that we added to Express, the framework for Node.js here that we're using. It's not giving us that white page of blinding. And so let's go fix up the others, because if we had an error on one of the previous pages, like right now I can do a close registration, right? And this view here, notice that there's a closed registration, closed event. Doesn't even have to say the conference ID, because I know that it can only do one at a time. So that's kind of in conflict with the other conference ID being in the event name, event contents. So this is great. So this is the view from the organizer. We'll have to come back to that. They actually have to have a different ID that gives them, that's kind of acts as a token for administration to be able to reorder and adjust the schedule. The participants don't have that. Obviously, they're just they're going to have a read view, kind of like only, they can't change it. They just can't see it as to what sessions get put into what time slots and what rooms. So this is good. That's kind of like as far as we went through to. But if we go to here and we paste again our, let's say someone comes in late to the registration, because we closed the registration, so we have a third latecomer here. You know, let's say, yeah, register here. So we have that. So if we have someone else coming in, right, this is the registration for this conference. That's the conference ID. This is kind of where we're at. And we can continue to, you know, the different registrations in the URLs tell us who we are. And I kind of wanted this to be easily seen. You usually would definitely have this behind the scenes as some sort of a token that no one really can read or change. So I could go in and, like, if I see your screen, I can copy this and kind of act like you. Obviously not a very secure application, but here we just want to have just some extra things to look at. So if I try to now, let's say I'm let's say Alice, and I try to register, boom, there's that white page. Awful, right? It's awful compared to this when I have not found here. This error is much nicer. I want to fix the title up here, so we can probably do some cleanup here. But yeah, one of the problems here is that this registration is closed. That is not using our proper chain of URL handling, like how Express passes things on. So what we want to do is fix that first. So I don't want this to happen. But now we have, you know, kind of like our state is really the series of all these 15 events to kind of set up the, obviously we could do it with way fewer events. I mean, we could have most of that setup stuff just as one giant blob. Here's the conference format, and have a nice JavaScript enabled single page app for constructing the slots and everything, and just have it as one submit. But again, we're doing this in small steps so we can kind of see how the how event sourcing works step by step with smaller bits of complexity to kind of illustrate that. It'll still work. It'll still do the job. So if we go down here to, oops, I'll shrink this down. I kind of want to actually, so we're running and we're going to have to, so there's not a lot of state at all in the application itself when it's running. We kind of want it to be, you know, that's why we moved some of the things, like looking for if the event stream directory exists, creating it on the fly anytime there's a request instead of having to rerun the application. We kind of want to preserve that spirit of you know, of not needing anything, any kind of state in the application. So when I close this down, I can really spin it up again and go to any of those URLs and kind of jump in at any point of those things, right? We do have to have some other error handling there to actually see, or just checking for errors. We really want the way that the events are stored to be the convention that kind of tells us what's going on, and we want our application to be very forgiving, that we don't have this extra careful sort of mapping of data. I want to be able to start a new conference and understand that any of those URLs are going to know that, you know, because the registration's closed, that if I'm on the set name of the conference, I am setting up a conference that's in the future. I'm not going to be changing any, like the name of the current one that's going on, things like this. So, but that's a really good set of sort of examples to kind of go through, because when you're doing event sourcing, you trade off a lot of harder complexity with foreign keys and all that for a simpler set of complexity, which is really about conventions and really interpreting things as to how they happen in a timeline. It allows you to remove swaths of problems just by saying, well, we started, you close the conference, so I know that that is a marker in time. I don't have to go and do an update to a whole bunch of tables. I know that I can interpret that as I can ignore everything before this or something like that, right? It's a very, very healthy way of working and limiting your context window for kind of what you need to do in your system. Closing of the books does the same thing. So lots of good things like that. So here's that error that we got at the end, which is registration closed. So we have this not found because obviously we have this this problem with not having that next piece implemented yet. So we can just break out of this, and we're still in the merge. So I think everything works to where we want it to be. So if I do a git status, we did add everything, and so we can commit all of this, and we can start to work on the cleanup stuff. I don't really want to name a branch for this. I'm the only one working on it. I'm not going to be merging this to the QA branch, although I could, but really it's a bunch of cleanup stuff that we just want to do. So git commit, and we want to say that in here merged all remaining work and ready for next sprint. I just say next release, because if I say sprint, it means that we're doing agile stuff, but this works without agile, with or without. So our next push for another release is good enough. So we do that, and just we can push that up, and so that's there for you if you want to take a look at it yourself. But now let's shrink this down and actually get to work on cleaning some of this up. So I'm just going to close this, and we're going to go to the top and just see what we can change in here that we don't like. So I like this. One of the first things that we put in here is making sure that this making this directory on anything, either getting events or reading events. This is our only two functions that we're dealing with state with. There's nothing else. That is our repository. That is everything. Whatever patterns you're used to, they all go away. It's just that. We have one processor, which is great. It says more utility functions here. We did something here, like put the closing brace, instead of having it dangling down here, we put it up here, and that allows this to be non ambiguous, right? Disambiguate that. We don't have this either here, right? So I kind of would want to make sure that when we have any changes in this code, that a single brace is not going to give us issues with merges. So we can do that if we want as well here. I kind of don't mind doing this. I can fold these down as I go through them. So that's the, okay, so this is about running the tests. Okay. I don't know why this is doing that. Fix in composer. I don't know. Require any. It's not causing any issues. So, and same with this. I don't know. It probably wants to make these a little bit more explicit because we're not using these entire libraries. So it probably wants something else. But I'm guessing. Not an expert in this. So this is kind of nice. Get events, and it just kind of has the return. So I kind of like rolling up these guys at the end here. So push events. We have this notify processors of the event as the last thing. So if I shrink this, it should kind of give me a nice, last thing that it does. Not just if I shrink this, it's, what the hell does that tell me, right? Nothing. So I don't care what your preferences are for code styles. I'm going to do this because, it's obvious that this is the last thing it does, or the last thing in the collection. If I shrink this down, I know that, there's this. in the collection. It really doesn't matter. This will grow. Actually, I don't like that because this is going to be a collection that grows. So I kind of don't want this like that. I actually would want this to look like a one-line thing because I want these entries to merge in a lot better. And so I actually want this trailing brace here. And I want this to actually be called processor. So I want that that comment at the end here. So when this is shrunk, that's fine. But more importantly, when I am, you know, when I'm merging, these things make sense. I think the voice processors. Thank you. Okay. When I'm merging, these things plunk in perfectly well because we have a nice convention here. That's fine. And so notify processors, same thing. It looks like it doesn't have that in there, which is good. So maybe we don't. Now I'm double checking whether this is actually good or not. I kind of want it on in cases like this last statement to kind of, because we're inserting things here. And notify processors is just a utility. It's just iterating through this collection here to do that. So we can leave it as that. This is just utility for whether we're doing sync or async. But for this, I'm thinking if we always have a res render or a res redirect at the end of that, and it kind of closes off what we're doing, except for the set name thing, right? We have a redirect. So we have a set name, but we have a redirect to that. I can see that this could conflict with something that happens to redirect to the same place, a different path that redirects to the same place. So I think, you know, this this is good. And the problem here, so we should start fixing some of this up. So set name is bad. I think we need set conference name, right? And we're going to have to also fix this up along the way here because you know, render set conference name, set name confirmation, set name mustache. So, you know, here we want to rename this. This has to be set conference name. And I really kind of want to get rid of some of these inconsistencies in the name of all of this stuff. So that's good. I think that's better. And then we can do, yeah, set conference name. We should double check what's in here, whether we have a problem with title set conference name. Yeah, that's probably better. You know, action, obviously this is set conference name, right? And that's fine to rename, to stay as a name. And this has to be conference name, so not event. I'm going to stop using the word event. Obviously, in event sourcing, it's going to cause problems if there's a thing to learn from. Okay, so we did that. Yeah, so we're good with this. I'm gonna save that. I don't think there's anything else. There'll be a lot of sort of search replaces that we do when we rename, for example, sessions to topics. We currently don't have a login session, but I know that's something that we're probably going to add later on. as we mature this whole solution. So I really want to make sure to get rid of that. So that's fine. Wondering why the voting. Oh well, we lost our voting thing, but I think I still have it in the history of what we asked ChatGPT to do. Oh, and I forgot to update cursor because I think I'm still by default on Sonnet 3.5, and I think it should default to 3.7. So I want to see what the cursor folks did for that. Again, yeah, set conference name, set name confirmation. So this is set conference name command is good. Yeah. And then of course we want to push event. So we have an event set name. This is absolutely not right. This is set conference name command. And thank you for doing that. Okay, and set conference name confirmation. And so that would be, yeah, we'll get to that. Right now we don't have that endpoint. So we have that command, and then we have return conference name set event, which is correct. That has the word that in there. Okay, that's good. Now, do we want to, I'm thinking that, do we want the causation command, like the command that caused this event to be triggered, to be in our metadata? That's one of the other things that we did, and I'm regretting putting it in there because it's not the simplest thing that would work. We may want to add that, as a see right now. Okay, so it's returning the event. So yeah, there should be something at a higher level that does this because we have this event. And then we have this event here that, so we have the command here. And then we have the resulting event where we want to push the event. So I think in the push event, I don't want to sprinkle this complexity of adding these meta things into that. So I think, over here, we could add the command as a parameter, just to have as a, yeah, I don't want to have extra. Yeah, I don't want to have extra. Oh, that's another thing that we have. So notice the good thing that I noticed this, because we have this data, which we actually put into, if we look at our event stream, we started doing that. So like, putting in some of the data into the file names, it's kind of nice to have them when I'm looking at the event stream that's in here. The names of the actual events have some of the data in them, so I don't have to actually open those up and see, oh, that's when I added, this thing, or this is when I did this action. I kind of know from the event name itself, and it's fine. Like the core of the event information is like the sequence number, and even then you don't really need the type. You should kind of be streaming this anyway. And when you're not using the file system, you're just getting object after object, and you have to look inside for the type. So this is just a convenience for being able to work with this project and just looking at your event stream in the directory here to be able to make sense of it, right? And of course, we're going to have to evolve this. Like eventually, we don't want to have 1,000 entries in the directory. We're going to have to kind of do what Git does, kind of start to split things off into sub numbers. So every 100 events will have a new directory or whatever. And then every 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever we decide, we can also make a top level directory for that, or find some other scheme to kind of do that. We might have some directory convention so that the lowest length is going to be something for a system that only has 100 events. Then it'll do that, and if there's more after that, then you get the next number is a directory and with more digits, and that means that you can start to nest those. So, and of course, then we have to consider how we do symlinks and all sorts of things for all sorts of indexing, which we're going to be playing around with. So there's lots to play with here to look at these events, these types of things. So I'm considering dumping in the command here, or just getting rid of it. And for now, I think we want to simplify it. I kind of don't want that repetitive data in the events when we're looking at them coming out in the watch command. So I'm not going to do that. But it certainly did give me an idea. The thing that we do have missing in this feature is really when we're pushing the event, we are not getting the the data in here, and so we want like the event dot set name. So we can put the name in there. That's kind of good, and usually we have like the data to be name. We don't need conference name because we already understand that it's that the event type is conference named, or set name. It's actually that's another thing. Is this the proper name of this? Maybe a better command would be name conference. Like I'm naming the conference, right? I think it kind of reads awkward. It certainly reads better for the type of event. It would be conference named event. So that's maybe what we'll do. Conference named. Oh no, not here. Sorry, wrong place. That's the command. But the event, because the command and event are sort of related, I kind of don't like needing to have commands. That's one of the things about event sourcing that I'm realizing, is that I kind of don't want commands a lot of times. They're only like used when you want to scale out on the right side and distribute where the commands go as messages. But even then, this past tense and versus imperative form of these names is kind of a pain in the butt. So this event here, which actually comes here, conference named event is much better, right? And yeah, I think that would be better, conference named. We're gonna have like a problem with our fake events, because we have like set dates, rooms, register, join, close. I don't think we actually have sessions submitted, registered. We have all of these different things here: time slots, dates, rooms added. We don't have anything with like that requires fake names. Cancel. What is going on here? Register conference. Yeah, here. So this one would have to be renamed, and it would have to be conference named event. And then of course we would have to do conference named event, and that would be good. That's a fake event that we have. We're working with that slice, which we want to preserve, making sure that works. Yeah, so name conference, I think that's good for now. We'll probably have things that we missed and have to come back to fix some errors. Yeah, so name conference would be bad in here, I guess. One of the other things that we did kind of discuss on this thing here is even the test, we always have this format. So even this could be not a function, but a generic set of data points where I have, you know, the names of the properties from either side, and then have a test runner that actually has this structure in here. So like a collection of asserts after doing the same action, because we'll see that in the tests we always have this, at least in this given when-thens, we have the same thing here. So you know, we can definitely generalize this. It's the same thing. We do have a few others that we're going to get to where we have expected, where we have an expected exception. I don't know if we want to tackle that just yet. That would be something that's well, I'm not sure it's cherry pickable. That's another thing we might do today, is just find a convention to run these as, you know, the test is not a function, but it is, again, just data. That might be interesting. I mean, I'm really wary of doing too much, and again, maybe that's just because I've been influenced by the traditional agile TDD folks about making these so bloody ad hoc. But what's happening is we're getting some good conventions here where we could really not even have anything here. Honestly, I think every time that we look at this, the fact that we have a command, I know that I could even wipe this, because I know that I want to check the type always. I want to compare aside the timestamp, which I kind of don't want in there. It's annoying that it's there. Again, this is more of a meta data, so getting rid of the timestamps, unless we're dealing with something that we want to see as, you know, this timestamp. I want to chuck the timestamp, honestly. That is something that is going to be in the way. We don't really use it for any of this functionality because we're using just sequence numbers. Filter file ends. Do we have any sorting here? We don't have any sorting, especially on the date. We're only doing sequence numbers. So yeah, I think let's be bold and just get rid of anytime we see a date timestamp, just to nuke it. If we do this, I don't want it to be as part of the payload. I want it to be part of the envelope that the events get sent in, and we'll see if that makes sense, because you know, the only place that first of all, we have a timestamp of when the event got created, so that's on the file system anyway, so we're not losing information here. So we are simplifying things because we are getting rid of this. Again, this error handling is something that we need to not do. We have to do a redirect. So we want the res dot It's not redirect. What is it? Res dot then. There's something else that we have here. Let me just look at the bottom. What was the syntax for this stupid? This is a part of Express, how it does its error handling. So error handling here, submit session, throw, submit session. Okay, so here we go. Catch, next, return next error. That's what we do. Status 404. Okay. So let's go back. And here we do error dot status 400. Sure. And then so this is when we have an error message that's a pure function, so we have something that's pretty good there. And here we go, return next error. And the body and all this stuff is taken care of elsewhere. So this is actually simplifying things. This is another opportunity to simplify things even further, because we kind of have a helper class that we could have that or can we? I don't know. Can we consolidate this into one line? I can just see get out of here. This edit, make this into one line. That just deleted it. No. Use. Okay. Why am I not able to hit control here? Okay. Let's try it again. Edit. Here we have, 3.7 thinking. Make this a one-liner. Oh, interesting. So thinking won't work. Let's see if the 3.7 will work. Okay. Can't you do error next error dot status equal 400? Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so I think I was a little too quiet there. Okay, let's see if the mic is better now for the volume. Yeah, I don't know if that would work. just so it, would it work? Would that work? Accept. And then I can just add this to the chat. And does this actually work? I guess I forget when things get. Yeah, well, I don't want to put error handling. Yeah, not the modified object, of course. Yes. Yeah. I want a more concise way to invoke next. One, that's really stupid. All right, whatever. That's horrible. Well, okay, one plus next. This is very wordy. This object assign. I wish it was like a character to do that. New error. Um, yeah. How about using the dot 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 pass on anything plus then new status. Oh, okay, good. I like that best. Good. So it wasn't. I'm still smarter than the average bear, even though I don't do much of this coding. That's good. I like that. That's much better. So here we can do next, and then doot doot doot, and then we do that. And I actually does know. Okay, because it probably gave me that next status message. Oh no, that's not good. That's not what we want. Didn't suggest the right thing. We can do dot 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 or error dot dot dot. Sorry. Dot 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 error. I like. Now, I don't know if those 400s and 500s are correct, but this is way more, and those console things I don't like here. I really like things to be concise. So I think doing the error handling, having the console kind of give the the console call to be down here would be better. And why? Okay, that's not found, so we don't need to worry about that. We can do page not found. That's better. And here we have the whole stack, but we also just want console log not error. We want this to be the error.message. And here we want caught error, blah, blah, blah. I think we want status. Error, and then we have plus error.status. And then we just have a message. And here we just have a comma. I think that would be good enough. So that means the reason I wanted to do that is just to get rid of superfluous, not important code. And in here, we would have we would now no longer need this. And we could just return this. So, and this is way too large here. Okay, so on a normal screen, it would kind of look like this. So we try the event. I really hate this event that equals null, but whatever. I mean, that could also be a one-liner. The reason I'm pushing this off to be one-liners because they're so friggin' uninteresting, right? Like this says, you know, the core of this is set this to whatever and give me an event. This is all just like extra syntax that gets repeated in everything, right? So we could obviously make a helper function for this as well. I want to have all of this stuff kind of, yeah, I think this is the time, because we're repeating this infrastructure, again, infrastructure code. I'm not doing dry for business logic or different sets of state. So, you know, if I have, let's make a function, right? I basically want to have a function called, what are we doing here, right? Change state, right? Change state. And what are we passing to it? We're passing to it, yes, set the command, right? And then we're also doing the set conference name. You know what? We actually have so we need a function name, set conference name. We don't want get events. That can all be done there. So really the only thing that varies is this. We have, no, we do need a command. And that is the command handler. Is there something else that can kind of be even because we really want this to be a function. We really want this to be an anonymous function. And the reason we have this is for testing purposes, because we can put in whatever history we want. So kind of want that. And we want to say that we are, by default, we don't want to pass any I don't want to have to say in here get events. I want that to be by default. That's the default thing that we want to be. Let me think about this. So basically what we want here is, what I don't want to do is do this. And it's an anonymous function, right? So that should do it. And here we want the command hand history, and then command. And of course, we don't want any of that stuff. We really want this part in here. Not this stuff. The problem is that we have this next call, but okay, so we don't have, we're not doing anything with the yeah, okay, I was afraid that we're doing something with the result or the request, but we're not. So this is actually good. So change state. And it's not really change state, it is it's the web aspect of it, because it's taking, so is it like via HTTP? Right, something like that. And then yeah, that's that. Why is this not okay? So that's not being used because we actually don't need it. Okay, so we want the command, and oh, and here we want to Oh yeah, we don't need this. We just want the command. So this would be the set conference name. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, set conference name. This would be command handler. And then command handler, get events command. Okay, that looks better. Okay. So I'm going to go have a bite to eat, and I'm going to be back to finish this because this is kind of exciting. We're really, you know, I want the whole application to be like super tiny, where we get rid of, you know, a lot of these things here. So this whole thing, change state via, you know, view state via HTTP, that kind of stuff. You know, we're wrapping it. I don't think this is a good name. So if you have a better name for this, let me know. But now what we've done is, you know, gotten rid of all this crap. Like that just goes away, which is amazing, right? And even then, you know, we can embed this in here, right? So, you know, this whole thing we can just grab and get rid of it entirely here. And look at that. So we know how to handle it, which is set conference name handler, and then the command is that, and then we redirect. And this whole thing here takes care of all this garbage that we would have sprinkled everywhere else. Okay, so I'm going to jump off for a bit, and I'll be back after dinner. See you guys soon. If you have any questions in the meantime, post them in the chat on Discord. Message me there. Not directly, but just mention me, and I'll hopefully address your questions